Our next guest is a French man who has found a sweet spot among Britain's culinary masters, and he's an award-winning patissier who has made confections for celebrities, talking about Madonna, Claudia Schiffer, David, Victoria Beckham, even been commissioned to make some cakes for the Queen or the royal family themselves. Yeah.
Indeed, and this baker to the stars might soon find himself baking literally among the stars. Come next year, he'll be the first chef to travel into space. Now, to tell us more about his tasty career is none other than Eric Lanlard, host of popular TV cook show Baking Mad. Good morning.
Morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Welcome, how are you? Welcome. So I'm going to ask you first about this trip to space.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to bake in space?
I doubt it. I doubt it because I've seen the space shuttle, and I can tell you there's no room to do to bake on board. And I think during the first flight, I want to make sure I get the full effect of the experience.
Okay.
But it would be interesting. Can you imagine trying to make a souffle in space?
Exactly,
Obviously,
yeah.
it will rise. It won't.
That's right.
That would be the perfect place to do souffle. So maybe round 2 or round 3. We can start some planning to do some bit of baking. I'm sure Richard Branson will love, the first cake made in space.
So you can
Sure.
experiment and then see, make space for a bit more palatable.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Because there are a lot of restrictions. But let's talk about, your journey so far. You arrived in Britain to work as a pastry chef, and this was back in the late 80s. And you described the first time you were there and you were looking at the, culinary scene. It was appalling, you said.
I know.
What
Sorry,
was it?
the UK. They know how much I love them. And I've been living there now for 25 years, and I'm well established there in London now. So, but yes, it was, and it was actually perfect timing for me to arrive in the UK because the food revolution was starting. But I grew up in France, where obviously we love our food and great reputation about food. And the UK had a bad reputation. And when I arrived, I completely understood why, because it was like being stepping out in time, And then I did ring my parents, and I just said, I'm gonna have to come back. There's no way I can work here. And they said, oh, come on, try a little harder, and maybe use the opportunity to put your own touch into it, and which I did. So I decided, okay, there is an opportunity there, and the food was really changing at that time. It was starting to happen.
Right.
And London today is probably one of the hottest places for restaurants as well.
Right.
And food. It's such a great platform. All the chefs from all over the world are opening in London.
Do you recall way back then what you did? What were some of the first things you did? Did you just bring French food there? Did you try adapt it? How did you convince people to say, give it a try?
Well, I changed few of the recipes for who I was working for. I was working for some very famous chefs, for the Roux brothers, Albert and Michel Roux, who were like 3 Michelin-star restaurants. So when I arrived, I assumed the quality was going to be amazing.
Right.
And actually it wasn't. It was really old-fashioned. So I put it straight back to what it should be. I was 22. I was just coming out from apprenticeships.
Right.
It was a great opportunity, and they saw it as well in me. So they promoted me straight away as head chef, and I moved it gradually, and I tried to understand the British market, which is obviously very different than the French. The French love patisseries. They go religiously to all the patisserie. Every Sunday to buy their cakes. They spend a lot of money. They appreciate the work. They look at pastry chef like gods. A little bit. So
Not so much in the UK.
it wasn't. And it's a very different market. So you had to approach it on a different way, which I did, and I think that's why our success worked.
So you wanted to reignite the passion in food for the British and change things around. But tell me, what is your philosophy when it comes to baking? Well,
the main thing is it needs to taste good. What's the point to create and spend hours investing time to make a cake or to bake something if it's not going to taste nice?
Right, but that's what we all try to do. We want to make it taste good. But what is the key secret, if I could put it that way?
Well, the key secret is any recipe start with good ingredients. And that was one of the problems in London. It's like, people say like, oh, the Britain's got no legacy about baking. Actually, they do. They have some fantastic recipes. But over years, because of the war or because of economic reason, they swap the ingredients for, instead of using butter, they're using margarines and cheap chocolates and things like that. When you take this recipe and you make them with great ingredients, straight away you get a fantastic dessert or puddings. And I'm a great fan of classic British food and puddings. I mean, every Sunday you would find me in my local pub, having sticky toffee puddings and things like that. So,
okay.
So that's what we did. We took the classic recipes and changed them with great ingredients, and suddenly people couldn't believe suddenly you could eat a wedding cake, because when I arrived there, a wedding cake was all about just
it just needed to look nice.
Exactly, and I thought, like, why spending so much money on the wedding cakes, which can end up being trashed away? So,
right.
That was our main thing. So.
Okay. Well, you've also been a baker now to many celebrities out there. I mean, do you find that have you had strange requests from them? Do they vary? And maybe share with us a few samples of what some of the things that you've... or how far have you gone? What's the craziest thing you've made?
Well, I mean, the thing is, people always ask me about celebrities, and which is great. And I always like to point it out that all our customers are obviously celebrities, because mostly on the wedding, their weddings, everybody have to be a celebrities, because it's only one-off, and you need to make sure you deliver it. And but it's always great to deal with celebrities, and people always think it's a lot of drama and a lot of requests and strange requests. And actually, we're talking A-list celebrity here. We're not talking the Z-list one.
We're talking about Madonna, Beckham.
Those people are busy. They haven't got time to change their mind 10 times. They usually know what they want. They know their food, because they all got private chefs. They travel with them. So it's actually very interesting to work with them, and they're not that difficult. Which is great. Crazy requests, we do get some, obviously. The latest one was early this year. I have to travel to the Middle East to build the biggest cake I ever made, when it was over 3 meters tall. We flew a ton of cargo from London to the Middle East to do this phenomenal cakes, which I almost have tears in my eyes when we put the funnel tiered on the top, and it was great. So that's why after 25 years I'm still happy and
so exciting,
smiling and excited.
You just never know.
Exactly, there is always some new thing coming up, which is great. And I just love at the moment, like, how much people love baking. I mean, we got so many fans from Singapore and all over Asia now, and social media as well is a great thing. So people actually catching me now on Twitter in the kitchen say, Chef Eric, I'm baking some brownies. I'm somewhere in Korea or I'm in Singapore. They're too liquid or too gooey.
What do I do?
I can answer back straight away, instantly to them. So which is great.
Which is the most interesting ingredient that you like to work with? Your favorite ingredient you like to work with?
I love chocolates. I've always been fascinated with chocolate. It's a great complex ingredient. It's a rare ingredient. It's got so many flavors, and I've always been fascinated by it. So, and my latest book actually is called Chocolat, which is book number 5, which is very interesting. I'm so pleased we managed to do a book just on chocolate, because it's really my passion. So anything with chocolate. So
what's the key rule if you really want to get it pat down perfect?
Well, look for a good quality chocolate. Don't go too high in percentage. So 70%. Don't go higher than that. After that, it can become bitter. And have a look where the cocoa beans come from. That's very important, because it need to come from like South America, the Caribbean. There is some great cocoa beans from Asia as well. So have a look. It's not just about the percentage; it's the quality of the beans.
And very quickly, I mean, you've mentioned you've last been to Singapore about 6 years ago, but you've tasted some of our food. And have you? What do you think might work in terms of if you were to invent something kind of with some of the Asian food that you are familiar with?
Well, I get asked all the time, where do you get your inspirations? And I have to say, it's travel. So I'm lucky, I travel on business, because the world has gone technically baking mad. So, I was in America, 2 days ago, and now I'm here. I'm going to Kuala Lumpur. So there's always some new techniques, some new ingredients you found. This weekend, I'm going to be a Herbalicious. Difficult to pronounce. Herbalicious. Yes. So I hope you're coming. And that will be one of the recipes, a perfect example. I took the classic tarte au citron, the lemon tart, French lemon tart, and I made it with an Asian theme to it.
Oh, really?
Matcha tea in a pastry. So the pastry is actually green
tea.
And for the filling, it's lemon and yuzu.
Oh,
so you see,
sounds lovely.
This is all inspiration from traveling.
You've tried durians? Have you heard of durians?
No, I haven't. No.
It's Singapore and Malaysia, we have them. You ask your guys to take you. It's a unique flavour and a very unique aroma as well.
On a good way, or?
It's a love-hate. You either love it or you hate it. So.
Okay, I will try it. I'll let you know.
An ingredient that never fails to pop up when you're in this part of the world. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
This morning, celebrity pastry chef there, Eric Lanlard, sharing more about his love for all things sweet and savoury.